Potion Masters, chapters 13 and 14. Wanda, Priscilla gasped, whirling to face her sister. Oh, good, Mesrix cheered. Just in time for dinner. Can I offer you a bowl of my world-famous caribou moss stew? In response, Wanda hurled a bottle to the ground. The glass exploded upon impact, and a cloud of green smoke plumed from the shattered remains, engulfing Mesrix. He squirmed as a flurry of vines formed in the cloud and began tightening around his arms and legs, binding him to the ground. One of the greenish vines coiled over his mouth, preventing him from uttering a word. When the cloud of smoke dissipated, Mesrix lay helplessly entwined on the hard stone floor, like a fly caught in a spider's web. Wanda removed her gloves and turned on her sister. You've crossed the line this time. I'm taking you to face the board. Priscilla dropped to the floor, cowering in the presence of her sister. Let me explain. I did what I thought. No, Wanda boomed. You don't get to explain yourself. Now where is it? Priscilla shook her head. Where's what? With lightning speed, Wanda shot her hand into her satchel and produced another potion vial. Don't think I won't offer you the same treatment as him. Her eyes flitted toward Mesrix. Because I will. Now give me the eternity elixir. I won't ask again. Priscilla covered her mouth. I don't understand. I sent it to you in a package. What package? There was no package. This can't be happening, Pris swallowed, and then held up her hands submissively. It was a small parcel. I sent it a few days ago. Wanda closed her eyes, lowering the potion to her side. There haven't been any packages, at least none that I know of. Why did you take it? I had no choice. A few months ago I began associating with a new friend. She dropped her eyes in shame. A woman by the name of Esmeralda Faustus. Wanda thought for a moment. The name sounds familiar. I thought Esmeralda and I shared similar goals, but there was something about her. Maybe it was her views against the board. Don't get me wrong. You know I'm not a fan of governing laws of BREW, but Esmeralda was different. She absolutely hated the board, and she was never truly my friend. It was all an act, played out so I would let down my guard, and then she blotched me. Priscilla shook her fist. It was a simple reveal, all drought, and I told her everything. About the eternity elixir and how we hid it in that asteroid crater in Mexico. When the blotching effects wore off, Esmeralda was already on her way to dig it up. The only reason why she doesn't have it right now is because I found it out in time to blotch one of her employees and intercept the elixir. If I may, Mesrix said calmly. He had managed to work his mouth free from the vines and stared at Priscilla, an innocent grin on his lips. I have to agree for once with Wanda. You really need to be wiser in your choices of friends, Priscilla. Esmeralda Faustus is a lunatic. Her parents were dark elixirists, a family of scourges that rose to power 40 years ago, when Esmeralda was just a preteen, Mesrix explained. If you had done your research, Pris, then you would have discovered the Faustuses were known throughout the potion community as being extremely skilled in blotching. That's what they do. I should know. I taught her parents. Why does that not surprise me? Wanda asked. You were always involved with the wrong side. Yes, but I was never for absolute chaos. Ha, that's a new one, Priscilla said. Killing all 7 members of the governing board wasn't chaos. I never killed anyone, Mesrix said. Because we stopped you before you had the chance, Wanda muttered. Mesrix flexed his jaw. There were many who agreed with me that BREW was due for a change in command, new government, a reconstitution of the laws, more freedom for all. But let's not argue about something as trivial as my past transgressions. I'm not the topic of discussion here, am I? I thought we were discussing Esmeralda Faustus. Wanda faced her sister. What does she want with the eternity elixir, Pris? Priscilla sighed. She plans to empty the elixir into the vessel. Wanda narrowed her eyes. Why would she do that? Mesrix chuckled. Now that's ambition. I take back what I said about Esmeralda. She's not a lunatic. She's a visionary. How do you figure? Priscilla asked. Mesrix's laughter died off as he closed his eyes. First, if you don't mind, Wanda, dear, my stew needs a little attention before it bubbles over. Steam rolled over the lip of the blackened cauldron. Just a quick stir and then pull it from the flames. We won't have anything left to eat if you wait much longer. Wanda hesitated, but when the liquid began to spill over the top, hissing As it dropped into the fire, she grabbed the wooden spoon from the table. Then, with the use of a towel, she plucked the cauldron from the burning embers and set it aside to cool. "Thank you. Now, where were we?" Mesrix asked. "Ah, yes, the Eternity Elixir truly is a remarkable creation, my finest work. Took me 2 years to complete the mixing process, but once I had it, it contained not only the building blocks of life, but of death as well. The Eternity Elixir can be combined with any potion to enhance its abilities. It can be substituted for multiple ingredients in any number of potions, and it can reverse and destroy a potion's effects as well. Let's say you wanted to eliminate BREW. No more laws, no more prisons. A lengthy procedure involving the Eternity Elixir combined with the precious vessel at BREW headquarters, and poof! Mesrix closed his eyes solemnly. Gone. "What do you mean, gone?" Priscilla asked. "The vessel would be destroyed, and all of its powers reversed. The improvements in science and technology gone?" He grinned. "Plus, no more banishments, no more prisoners. Those who had defied BREW would be free to go our merry ways. That's why Esmeralda is interested in the elixir. Her parents were banished years ago. She probably wants to share some quality time with them before they kick the bucket. That is, if they haven't already done so. But someone could just recreate the vessel, couldn't they?" Priscilla looked to her sister for confirmation. Mesrix shook his head vehemently. "Oh no, my girl, that potion has been bubbling in the chalice for more than 300 years. No one living knows what it is, what is in it, or how to reconstruct it. One more thing, my lovely daughters," Mesrix said. "Should the Eternity Elixir be used to destroy the vessel and eliminate its powers, all members of the BREW elite would lose their potion-making abilities forever." Priscilla scoffed. "That's a lie." Mesrix looked appalled. "I would never lie to you. You're my flesh and blood. And speaking of blood, that is how it's possible. Wanda made a blood link with the vessel when she became lead investigator at BREW. He tilted his head to the side, eyeing Wanda. "Did you not?" Wanda opened her mouth but didn't speak right away. She looked down at the floor. "That's how my judgments are able to hold when I carry them out." "That blood link will be your undoing, should Miss Fosta succeed with her dastardly plan," Mesrix said. Wanda chewed on the inside of her cheek, eyeing her father suspiciously. "It doesn't matter. Even if she did succeed in obtaining the elixir, she'd never be able to enter BREW without an entry pass. The wards would send her away. And the wards guarding the vessel are the most powerful ones in existence. What if she blotched an employee with access to the vessel?" Pris asked. Wanda shook her head. "Blotching would have no effect against the wards. That would erase the blotch the moment the individual crossed the barrier. Esmeralda's plan won't work." Mesrix chuckled. "My dear sweet Wanda, you have grown so much these past 12 years, and yet you're still so naive. You've never encountered a potion like the Eternity Elixir. The possibilities are endless. Had you both, my own daughters, not stopped me when I did, I would have become the head of BREW and enjoyed ultimate power, and because of that clever concoction, or all because of that clever concoction." "What are you hinting at?" Wanda asked, leveling her eyes on him. "Don't you think there's a possibility Esmeralda has considered the wards at the headquarters? It wouldn't take much skill to devise a way past their protections, not while using the elixir." Wanda clenched her jaw. "We need to capture her then. And quickly, I suppose. That storm is picking up." Mesrix pointed to where a wall of white snow obscured visibility beyond the opening of the cave. Wanda stiffened. "Pris, do you know Esmeralda's whereabouts?" "She pursued me as far as Europe," Priscilla said. "I couldn't go home. I didn't have time to stop to rest or even call for help. The first moment I had, I mailed the elixir to you in a secure package, then headed straight for these mountains." "So she could be anywhere close by?" "No, I don't think so. I haven't seen her for 2 days. I suspect she may have discovered that I mailed the elixir and gave up her pursuit. If she knows I sent it to you, that's where she'll be." Wanda's face paled. She clenched her fists and whirled on her sister. "You've sent that horrible woman to my home, my family? What are my kids supposed to do when she shows up?" Pris held up her hands. "Relax, Wanda. Your wards are strong, aren't they?" "Not strong enough for an attack." They'll hold, Pris insisted. Esmeralda is powerful, but without the elixir in her possession, she won't have an easy way into your home, and I know for a fact your wards are some of the strongest protective spells around. This will all blow over once Esmeralda realizes the elixir is unattainable. Unattainable? But I told you already I didn't receive any package from you. You must have. Pris fumbled in her satchel and pulled out a small ampule of clear liquid. I had confirmation that it arrived and was handled by you. Then your confirmation potion failed you, Wanda said, or someone else handled it by mistake. Impossible. Priscilla stared at the ampule. I was very specific on who could trigger a confirmation. It had to be my relative, as well as a powerful elixirist. You are the only one those stipulations could apply to. Well, you and Father, of course. Priscilla listened to me. No package came before I left, so unless... Wanda covered her mouth in shock. Oh, no. Gordy. Chapter 14. Gordy leaned over a small pewter cauldron about the size of a cereal bowl. In one hand, he held a slotted spoon. In the other, he clutched the vial of mysterious cream-colored liquid. Maybe you should wait until your mom gets back, Adeline suggested. She may not be back for a week, Gordy said. But you don't even know what it is or what it does. That's why I'm going to attempt to screw it. I've seen my mom do this before. Screwing the contents and properties of an unknown potion required heating the liquid to almost boiling temperatures. Then, while the heat reduced, Gordy would simply add a few drops of quicksilver from his mother's ample supply. The quicksilver enhanced smells and sensations emitted from a potion. In theory, it should be enough for Gordy to decipher the contents. How are you feeling, Max? Gordy glanced up to check on his friend. Max slumped in the corner of the lab, the gas mask hanging loosely from his chin. His eyes continually crossed and uncrossed, which was an improvement over how he had been the moment he had unzipped Baudry's bag. Gordy had never seen anyone faint before. Had it been during different circumstances, he would have shared a laugh with Adeline. But when Max crashed sideways to the floor, he'd nearly pulled Baudry's mummified body on top of him. Gordy was forced to venture down into the toxic fumes without the aid of the gas mask to help his friend and clean up the mess. Max blubbered in response, clutching his stomach. He's so gross. You never said he was that gross. He always said he was that gross, Adeline snapped. You just never listened. Shut up, Rivera. Max's lips clamped together and his cheeks puffed out. Don't you dare barf down here, Gordy warned. I don't have time to clean that up, too. I'm all right, Max stood and stumbled over to the table. The fire had heated the pewter cauldron to the proper temperature, and just to be safe, Gordy pointed the oscillating fan so it would blow any noxious vapors away from their workstation. Okay, maybe you two should take a step back. I don't want you to accidentally bump me or anything like that, Gordy said. I'm just going to put 1, maybe 2 drops in. That's all. That should be enough. Gordy uncorked the vial and tilted the opening toward the cauldron. The gooey substance remained clotted at the bottom of the bottle. He swirled it around and tapped the glass with his fingernail. The potion jiggled. Then, all at once, the entire mass of liquid slid out and plopped into the cauldron. Oh no, Gordy shouted. That's more than just a drop, Max said. Gordy frantically tried to ladle the potion out of the cauldron, but the intense heat ignited it instantly. The once creamy color transformed to dark brown, and the consistency turned from gloppy to crispy in less than a second. You're so dead, Max snickered. Your mom is going to make you give Baudry a sponge bath. Be quiet, Gordy killed the flame to the cauldron. He dashed over to the mini refrigerator beneath the cupboards and extracted a tray of ice. He dumped the ice cubes into the mess, and they erupted into a hissing cloud of steam that mushroomed up from the opening of the cauldron. Then the steam dispersed. Gordy leaned over to look at the damage. All that remained of his aunt's special potion was a streak of black ash. How could this have happened? He had only intended to add a drop. Gordy, Adeline said softly, it was just an accident. Your mom will understand. I should have left it alone. I should have waited. It wasn't the first time Gordy had ruined a potion. He'd once burned up his mother's entire stock of Komodo dragon saliva in one fell swoop. That had been an expensive mistake. A whole carafe gone. Punishment was one thing Gordy could handle, but this was different. He didn't know how to explain it to his friends, but he knew in his heart this potion had been special, and just like that, he had destroyed the entire batch. Gordy didn't want to cry, but he could feel hot tears welling up along the rims of his eyelids, threatening to spill over the edges. Then the doorbell rang upstairs, and Gordy had a feeling that his nightmare of an afternoon was suddenly about to become a lot worse. End of chapter 14.